Evening, Gassheads. We're back. Apologies for being a tiny bit late. But yeah, we're back for a final episode before the season ends. Of course, there will be other content throughout the summer as well. We'll be doing a season review within like the next sort of 2 weeks or so. So keep an eye out for that. And of course, a lot more content throughout the summer as well. But yeah, we're back. Episode 33. Apologies, there wasn't an episode last time as well. I had to get called into work a bit earlier, so that's why there wasn't no episode last week. But of course, a lot has happened. We played 2 games, 1 win and 1 defeat. As always, do hit the like button. Really does help out the channel. We can get close to 50 likes. If you're watching on the replay, then don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new. And if you're watching and you haven't subscribed already, then please do so. We are on the road to 7,000 subscribers, which is quality. But yeah, we got a few comments, even into Chris, even into Tom Butler, even into Charlie as well, talking about the Finley situation, which we will get into, touch on in about 5 or 10 minutes or so. But yeah, as always, do join FanHub. The code is on the screen at the top and at the bottom. We've got our socials. If you haven't already, please go and do follow them as well on Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, Neil, how are you? Are you sort of buzzing for the season to end? 1 more game to go?
Yeah, mate, honestly, can't wait. I'll be more than happy when it's all done and over. To be honest, it's dragged on since January now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a bit weird because, like, I was talking to you before you went live. It feels that it's gone slow but quick at the same time. Like, it doesn't feel like yesterday we started the season, and obviously, I think what made it obviously drag on a bit is just because of how obviously that poor run we went on without scoring a goal and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll get into the first of the 2 games we're going to talk about tonight. We are going to be joined by Charlie Keegan, who was on here last time as a Wigan representative from the Unity of Wigan podcast. He'll be on in a little bit to get to know a bit about Wigan, their last few results, etc. But yeah, we'll talk about the Cambridge win first, the last Tuesday night game at the Mem. And of course, the last time, we were talking about it before we, done the Cheltenham. I think we did do the Cambridge preview, and we're saying, can we get a win? It's going to be, that we wanted to get another win, and we did get it 1-0. Not the best of games. I think for me, going back on that game, I think the first half was really good without scoring a goal. We looked good on the ball, but we didn't get any chances off, really. And then, of course, the goal did come late. Evans did a quality ball to get through, and Martin got back on the score sheet with his 16th goal of the season, obviously going to end our top goal scorer. But yeah, what was your thoughts on that game? I know there are loads to go on, but we made it back-to-back wins, of course, and it's not going to happen now, of course, this season, but all season long we haven't won 3 games in a row. We had a chance to, of course, against Peterborough, but we did make it back-to-back wins against Cambridge. What was your thoughts on the 1-0 win?
I think beforehand we said we expect to win. It was a game we expected to win, just purely on, if you match Cambridge for, effort, endeavour and all the rest of it, and all the, the fundamental things you expect, a little bit of quality should shine through in the end. And it's essentially what sort of happened. But really, I didn't mind what Cambridge came to do, to be honest. I thought they set up pretty well. They were more than happy to come. They almost got what they came for. They came up, they set up to get a point. They looked to sit deep. They weren't as deep as what they were when they played at home under Bonner, but they did sit deep. They got behind the ball. They were more than happy to sacrifice the ball in their own half and just get really narrow, rigid, and just deny us any form of playing. And they were always going to look to try and nick something from either a set piece or a dead ball. And it almost came off to a team. I understand it ain't pretty on the eye, and some Rovers fans can look at it and say Cambridge was shite, but they set out to do what they did. I thought Monk's post-match was pretty fair, to be honest. They almost got away with one. Do you know what I mean? They're going to have to ride their luck. They had a penalty given, saved.
Yeah.
They did the woodwork. Ward's made a great save, I think, at 0-0 as well.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? If they'd have rode their luck a little bit and they got a rub of the green, they could have got a point out of that. And I think they weren't a million miles off fulfilling the brief that they'd set out to do. It's just that like I said, it comes down to a bit of quality. And when Evans gets the ball with all that time in his that deep, and everyone's just sat looking to see where the runners are going and what the next phase is going to be, Luke Thomas makes that pass by triggering that bit of movement. The pass has got to be near enough perfect, and it was from Evans. And then it's just about Luke Thomas doing what he's not done too often, where he's had a cool head and be able to pick out a pass or get a shot off without being 100 miles an hour. You know, he went cold at that moment, threaded it where it needed to be, and then Chris Martin was never really going to miss that opportunity. Last meet and drink. But as far as that pattern of Evans having it deep, no one really pressing him, Luke Thomas triggering the pass. You know, as soon as that bit of movement goes, Evans knows exactly where he needs to thread that. Peels off his fullback. Great knock into the middle, and then it's, you know, the finish is the finish. But Cambridge almost got away with one there, and I just think it did. It hinged on that little bit of quality that Rovers had, and managed to go and nick a win. But you know, on the balance of play and Rovers having plenty of the ball, huffed and puffed, didn't create a great deal. So then you go back to Cambridge saying, well, have they defended well there? Have they done their job, etc.? You know, a bit of rub of the green, they could have got a point, but ultimately a little bit of quality shone through, and we managed to take a chance.
Yeah. To be fair, like looking back at it, because I remember like someone told me in the reaction I did, I've done it really, really brief and didn't really sort of, because I was the same. I didn't think Cambridge were amazing, but although we had a lot of the ball, we didn't really do a lot with it. Like for me, I know obviously if you're a stats person and you look at the XG, of course ours was higher because we got given the penalty, and of course another penalty miss, 3 penalties in a row we've missed as well, and of course it was Martin's turn to take one and he missed it. But our XG was only higher because of that penalty. Like if we hadn't have had the penalty, you know, we're saying we literally had one chance, which we did. I think Cambridge, I think they probably should have got something from the game based on their chances and based on the header in the first half. They had one really late at the end where they done it, and I think a few more. So probably they should have got some cut from the game, but it was, sort of a game where, you know, it was good. Another clean sheet is good. You know, we've obviously picked a few up, but a win nonetheless. Even to Kelly as well, only lived 25 minutes from Wigan. Would it be A, worth watching, or B, embarrassing? I'm not really sure. It depends what Rovers turn up, I guess. I think people are only going to it, for most people that I know, that because, you know, they're staying in Wigan or they're staying in Manchester or they're staying in Bolton, if they're making a sort of weekend or couple of days of it like I'm doing and like Neil's doing. I don't think many of us, especially without Martin and Marquis, no actual striker again, sort of be sort of similar to, I think, what we've seen against Peterborough, to be honest. But talking the last bit on Cambridge, of course, the video come out of Martin's headbutt and the fact that he's going to be suspended for 4 games. So he's missing the last 2 games of this season and he's missing the first 2 games of next season. What have you made of that? Look at it. Because for me, I know you said previously, you know, before we went live, you know, a lot of people do that, which they do. But obviously, once you get caught, and it was pretty bad. I'm not sure why he done it. Sort of, I guess the only reason I could think of is to sort of let him know the opponent was there. But you wouldn't do that with a headbutt. I just think it's pretty stupid for a player of that age to do it. But like you said, if he wouldn't have got caught, obviously no one is going to be talking about it. What did you make of that, Martin and headbutt, and the fact that he's going to be suspended for the first 2 games of next season as well?
Yeah, I see a lot got made of it, and plenty had you know, a lot to say on the ban and Martin doing what he's done and the stupidity of it. But ultimately, like, centre halves and centre forwards have needle with each other all game. Especially if you're a back to goal centre forward, you have needle with a centre half all game, and it's one of them. They're probably they've been irritating and winding each other up for a period of time. And Chris Martin is probably seen an opportunity that he thinks he can take to get away with something. And he ain't got away with it. That's all. But you go through any EFL game, you go through any non-league game, go for any level, really, any half decent level, like you see it all the time on the football pitch. You just get away with what you can get away with. And like I said, especially in that area of a centre half and a back to goal centre forward, need all game from kick-off right till the end. And it's just about who wins that little battle of who can get away with more, really, because there's, centre back to goal centre forwards and centre halves are getting kicks, elbows, punches, and all the rest of it all game. It's just how it is. And if you was to analyse every single one of them, you'd be finding bands all over the place. It's just the fact that he's tried to leave plenty on one of them, and he's been caught. And if you get caught, then you take the ban. But it's no bigger than that for me. Like saying it's like assault and all the rest of it. What goes on between the white lines of a football pitch? If you did do it in the street, yeah, you would be. But that's what goes on out there, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean? It's just everyone knows what they're getting into when they step over the white line. He's not whoever that centre half was. I don't even know who it was. But
it was some young kiddie, wasn't it?
Well, whoever it was, they wouldn't have. They'd have gone into that game knowing exactly who they're playing up against and knowing exactly what his attributes were. They wouldn't have gone, oh, it's Chris Martin. He might run off me. He might, spin me and run in behind. You know exactly what Chris Martin's going to do when he plays up against you. And as a centre half, you're going to try and get every advantage you can out of who's playing in front of you. So if that means talking a bit of shit and leaving a little bit on someone here and there, and Chris Martin, if that has happened, we'll take exception to that. If it is a young kiddie and thought, I'll put you straight in your place here, and he's got caught. That's just how it is. I mean, there was the worst one, like not the worst one, but the one that stands out that was really bad was the
Zidane.
No, the Sean Rigg one for Rovers away at Barrow in the FA Cup when I think he had.
Oh yeah, didn't he get like
open? Yeah, like that's taken it to the extreme. Like to be honest, as far as what's going on there. It ain't too dissimilar what goes on every week in every game, especially EFL, like non-league, north, south, that sort of thing. It happens all the time. I didn't really, I brushed it off, to be honest. Got caught, get the ban, suck it up. No big deal.
Yeah, move on. Yeah, Chris saying players will have flip-flops on. Yeah, been like it since February. Yeah, it's been, that's sort of it. It's, like I said at the start, we will do a episode, where we talk about the whole season. But yeah, it feels like, I've wanted, I think most Rovers fans have wanted the season to end from sort of late to mid-January onwards, really. Because I said to Neil before I went live, and people were probably expecting a reaction after the game Saturday. I've been that drained and that sort of opposed to it. I didn't even want to do one Saturday. Like I was so drained after that Peterborough game. But honestly, I just wanted to have a few points, go home, and just forget about it really. But I mean, we will get into it now. Peterborough come into the game on some good form. Obviously, Rovers had only won one game, and we were thinking it was going to be tough. I know we didn't do a sort of preview to it, but if you said to me 3-1 Peterborough, I actually went with a 2-0 Peterborough, especially seeing the lineup when it obviously come out that Martin had, we know he'd been suspended and we were playing sort of a false 9 in Giovanni Brown up front. Martin has been involved in, so many goals this season. I think 18 to 19 goals in the league if you count a few assists as well. And he's such a big part of that team. When you see we scored 52 goals, for Martin to get nearly, a quarter of them goals, and when he's not playing, although from what people might say, and I think it works in both ways, we might play better football without him, but with him, when he's in the box, he's like one of the best strikers in the league, and I know it was going to be a miss. And 2-0 Peterborough. Of course, Clark Harris returned again to the mem. He didn't score, but what was your thoughts on that game? I'll say my thoughts after, but what did you make of that? Do you think it was just a game that sort of summed up the season, even though there was nothing rested on us? It sort of summed it up, really, that game for me.
No, I think what took place, sort of, you expected it to happen. At the end of the day, they're a far superior side to us. They are a far superior side to us, and they toyed with us at times. Like they pretty much toyed with us at times. And we got beat by a better side. Look at the assets they've got in their side. And they were missing, a good few.
Yeah.
And you're looking at like Burrows, Edwards, Cipriano, Jono. Look at what money is that? Is it that you could reclaim as a transfer fee? Do you know what I mean? They're just a far better side than us, and they've proved it over a season. And like I said, a bit like when Derby came to town and when Bolton came to town, these top sides come to town. They turn up. They're professional. They're well drilled, and they know what they got to do to get a job done. Like Derby were excellent when they came to us.
Yeah.
Really professional, really well drilled. Knew exactly what they had to do to get a job done. Bolton again came and did what they had to do. Weren't fantastic, weren't brilliant, but a good side full of good pros that know how to go and get a job done. And that's pretty much what Peterborough did. You look at the top end of the pitch, like I said, you've got Giovanni Brown, where the ball just will keep coming back, and then you've got Jono at the other end, who he could hold up traffic. He's like,
yeah,
he's that strong and powerful, and he doesn't have to be fast, because if he leans on you when you get a run on him, it's worth an extra yard of pace. So I've just spoke about a spine of a side there, and there you go, far superior to us. Got beat by a better side, and if you're going to start looking into what you want to get to next season, which, well, next season is a different conversation, because I think that's going to be a long, hard slog, to be honest. But it's going to be even harder than that next season. This league will be far better than what you've seen from Peterborough on Saturday to get a result. It's going to be really, really, really competitive next season.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, we're going to bring Charlie in a minute as well. But for me, I can't remember what Rovers fan said it. There might have been a few what said it on Twitter. Peterborough is sort of the team I want Rovers to sort of look at within their recruitment and stuff like that, because they don't spend loads of money. Yes, I know they spent 1.2 mil on Clark Harris, but if you look at most of their team and most of their signings they get, all of them are for pretty cheap money. Like you mentioned players not being there. Ephraim Mason-Clark was on the bench. They got him for peanuts and Barnet. Edwards, the centre-back, who's now linked with Premier League clubs, they got him from peanuts and Barnet. Kwame Poku, like one of the best wingers in the league, they got him on a cheap from Colchester. Kit Prianu got him from, was it Southend or Leyton Orient? Well, I think he was at Southend, then he went Orient. But they don't spend a lot of money. They're not one of these clubs like you. And you mentioned there, like, what you can get for players. Like, even if you lose the key players, if you're scouting, but the thing is for them, they've been doing it for years, scouting-wise. You look at their team every year, and you look at their players. And, you mentioned Archie Collins. I think he had a year left when he was at Exeter, and he went to Peterborough. But I sort of agree with what a few Rovers fans said. That's what I want Rovers to do. It's not, obviously the owners come out. I think it was on, I missed having a gas tonight, but I'll listen to it later. He come out and said about, the budget's not going to be massive, but it's going to be, good for, say, a top 10 finish. Because obviously, that's what we obviously want to push into. It's annoying. We'll get into it when we do a season review, but we need to be doing better with and saying that, this summer we didn't spend loads, but a lot of the players we got on a free just haven't worked out, or that they've been good some games, but a lot of times they're just out injured. And that's something that we need to focus on, and we're talking more about. But yeah, my thoughts on the actual game quickly. I thought we started really well. First 5 or 10 minutes, we looked really good, really on it. But then after that, it just fizzled out. And I think, obviously, massive credit to Peterborough, because the training they do. Because the thing is with them, I've done a thing this week on our Instagram page, like a little sort of preview and stats. And you look at their team, the youngest team in the league, they keep the ball the most, highest possession. And excuse me, but very good team. And they deserved the win. Excuse me there, few costs. But Tom Butler saying, didn't we play better in the game at their place? Yeah, I think we did. I think we did play better. That game was one of a lot of games where we should have got something, but didn't take our chances. And yeah, I think we played good at their place. Chris saying, so 2 million to say Rovers got in a budget. Yeah, we'll have to see really. But I mean, just before we get Charlie on, what's your actual thoughts going into the Wigan game?
Not a lot, to be honest. I don't think there's much to think about, to be honest. It's the ultimate dead rubber, isn't it? Two sides. We've got League One status. A load of players probably from both sides that are going to be out of contract. Flights probably already booked to get away on holiday, if not the day after or definitely next week. So I wouldn't expect too much from, any end of season game. We've seen it time and time again that, end of season game when there's nothing riding on it, it won't be much to watch. And them lads will want to get off the pitch as quickly as they can at full time, and set about having a bit of R&R.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we're going to get into Wigan now. And yeah, we're going to bring in Charlie. Charlie, how are you? Obviously, he's from Central Wigan, from the Progress with Unity podcast as well. So make sure you go and check them out. I've left them in the description below. So go and give them a follow. His main page, which is Central Wigan, and the podcast that he's with as well. But yeah, Charlie, how are you? And obviously, welcome back again to the channel.
I appreciate it. No, I'm good. Thank you for having me back on. It's weird that we're already at the end of the season. We've got one more game to go. And it feels like a long time since we spoke.
Yeah, it's mad. Obviously, it is mad because I said to Neil, it's sort of like for us anyway. I don't know what it's been like for you, but for us, it's gone weird but quick for me at the same time. I mean, Neil says it's just dragged on, which it probably has most of the time. It has, but like you said, it feels like even yesterday we played you in that game. I can't even remember what was it in. I think it was in either late September or early October. I think that game.
Yeah, late September. I think it was.
Late September. So yeah, it is a long time ago. But yeah, keep hitting the like button as well if you're watching. Like I said, if you've missed it or if you're watching back, then do watch it. Do subscribe if you're new as well. Keep smashing the likes. And also, if you've got any questions about Wigan for Charlie, then do get him in the chat. But I mean, we'll quickly look back at that game as an opposition fan.
We'll leave it there. We'll just move on to this one.
Yeah, as an opposition, obviously looking back at that game, what did you make of that?
I think it was our worst game of the season. I think it was the worst we've played. It was shocking. It's one of those games though where stats will deceive you, because if you actually look at the stats, I think 50% possession each. I think we had the same amount of touches, the same passing accuracy, pretty much the same corners, fouls, all that sort of stuff. But we when you actually watch the game, we were so wasteful in possession. We panicked a lot. The distribution from Sam Tickle was poor, probably his worst game of the season, if I'm honest. And he has improved a lot since then. But just the ability for us to lose the ball time after time after time. And you couldn't do that against Bristol Rovers because you had Marquis up top who tore us a new one. He was brilliant. And then I think you just used all areas of the field very well. And we had nothing to really counter it with. But that was actually the final game that Matt Smith played for us before he went out till January, I think it was. He had a double hernia, and I think he was playing that game with a double hernia. So our midfield was just destroyed, really. But there's a lot of them players that we had: Omar Rekik, Callum Lang, Charlie White. They're not with us anymore. So we're going into this one with a lot of different expectations and a big different squad. So yeah, I don't know how this one's really going to go, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because, of course, that was when we had Barton as well. And that was, I mean, there was a thing some kiddie was doing, like, who was the best team you played, best win, defeat and stuff on Twitter. And yeah, a few Rovers fans mentioned it. And to be fair, it's probably in the top three. I'm not out of, winning at Bolton away, winning at Pompey at home, and probably this game. And like you said, though, it did deceive it, the stats, because I remember after the game and I looked at it and I seen it was pretty fair, but I just think for one of the very few times this season, Rovers took a lot of chances that game. Like the finishing was on point. Like you said, Marquis, who I think has had two different spells where he's been on form. One was the sort of early part of the season. Although Barnsley game, he missed 4 or 5 chances, but that game, Shrewsbury, he scored, and then the early spell when Taylor come in, he went on a good run before Martin got in the side. But yeah, that game was just mad. Like you said, completely different, with us as well. Obviously, no Barton. Collins is left. Marquis, hasn't been on it since January. And obviously we'll get into form as well, but going into sort of the last few games, obviously we haven't been on the best of form. Obviously we had the 2 wins. I mean, talk to us about your season, because you currently sit 13th. I think I accidentally messed it up. You're on 59 points, 2 points above us. But thing is as well, you obviously had the points deduction as well. So you must be, and as like you said, I mentioned the points deduction and the thing with a lot of your players in the summer, obviously from the relegation, you had to get rid of, and a very young team, probably in the top 3, were probably youngest teams in the league. So you must be pretty thrilled overall that you haven't really had to worry about anything else like relegation or something, sort of a mid-table finish where you've put in some good performances with obviously a young and up-and-coming manager as well and a young squad.
Yeah, I think at the start of the season, I mean, in the summer, I was really worried because we'd had the ownership change anyway. So a lot of our players had left from the previous ownership with all the non-payments. A lot of the players were able to just walk from the contracts, and they were obliged to do that, no problem, because they were not getting paid. It's like Jack Watmore and Will Keane, they were just allowed to leave. And they were a really strong part of our side. And then we didn't really have a full preseason because we didn't really have a squad to do it, and we didn't have the organization to try and organize anything anyway. So we came in very underprepared and with the -8 deduction. And so at the start of the season, I was going mid-table would be great, but it's way too far off. And I remember speaking to Gab Sutton, and he says, so you think that the playoffs are not going to be achievable? I said, not at all. Like, that's just, you'd have to be competing as a top 3 side consistently to even try and get playoffs with the -8. Yeah. But once I remember there was a real buzz in the team when at the start of the season. Every win we got, Stephen Humphries would go to the cameras and he'd be going like -5, baby, like -2, baby, all the way until we actually broke the minus points. So there was a really good buzz. And once we broke it, there was a lull from the team. It was, I wouldn't say job done, but it was like, okay, we've hit a big target there. But because it's such a young squad, a lot of academy graduates, they had 40 games still to play. So like you couldn't have that lull. And we did go on a good run. The loss against you guys was the first in a run of 4 losses. That was a big wake-up call that we kind of needed, if I'm honest. Then we picked up really well. We recently had the win against Blackpool, which put us onto 50 points, and we saw it again, the lull. And I know we had the international break around there, so naturally you're going to have a bit of a shaky time after that. But we just lulled again, like, oh, we've achieved our targets. And then in the last few games against Lincoln and against Portsmouth, there's been that resurgence again, that bounce that we had at the start of the season when we beat Northampton and Derby, when we beat Bolton 4-0. So we can see that again. So it has been really good. But I think the team that we actually played against, Portsmouth, last time out was the youngest fielded in League One. I think maybe not in the EFL, but in League One all season. And they played very well. Probably our best football of the season, to be honest, in that one. A little easier because Portsmouth, I think, were still with a drink in hand and strolling around the field, but it was great for us.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Like when you sort of compare it, to us, it's, you talked about lulls, having a few lulls. I think most of this season has been a lull. Like there was a comment just then from Tom Butler saying, after the home game versus Wigan, I would have never believed how the season would have turned out. Because we thought, I think we started the season, I know we had a few draws in there, but we started it, performances were sort of good around that time. Before that game, I think we'd beaten Shrewsbury away at the start. Then we'd beaten you, and then a lot of hope. But with Barton, and then, we had the thing with Mangan, and then the Taylor done really well in his sort of first month. And then since then, it's just been, that's what I mean. Like we've talked about it sort of, especially when we went on that poor run, you've probably seen where we went sort of 7 games without a goal, 700 plus minutes, and everyone was just everyone was just so frustrated. And even now, it's sort of a very interesting summer, to say the least. It seems to be a mad overhaul anyway. Whatever manager, whatever season it is, there's always a big overhaul. But with this season, if you count sort of loan players, it's going to be like 18 players that are, 10 players out of contract, plus the loan players, plus players like Anthony Evans, who's got a year left and is probably our best player and has been rightly so voted player this season. He's only got a year left, and with the sort of players that have Barton has brought in, to obviously now he's left, and a lot of the players were Barton players. So yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. Like you said, we just expected more really of the season. But like you did mention your sort of last few games. You mentioned the Pompey when you beat Lincoln. I think it was a last minute goal from Charlie Hughes, and obviously that was the game before he scored a mad own goal, didn't he? Against when you drew at Charlton. But you've actually, I know you obviously lost to Cambridge and drew to Port Vale your early games, but the sort of last 4 games coming into the end of the season 4 unbeaten, you must be pretty happy. And obviously with our sort of form and no strikers, obviously we'll get into predictions, but you must be quite happy that you could end the season with a win. Yeah,
I was buzzing. I went to the Burton game when we played them at the DW, and it was quite frustrating. The way we played in that one wasn't great, and you could kind of see that it was that lull after the Blackpool game, and just players strolling around. Some players weren't even looking at where other players were running. And then the Cambridge one, I think Sean Maloney came down quite hard on them. And Cambridge are a good side. That Gaston Ahadmi, who they've got from Ipswich, he's brilliant. Whether he's going to be at a top League One side next season, or I can imagine he's going to go to the Championship. If Ipswich are Ipswich promoted, I don't know if they already are to the Premier League.
No, not already. Very
close.
Not already.
So I don't know if he's quite cut out for that yet, but I think he'll definitely be top end League One or Championship. So the game against Cambridge was very difficult for us, woke us up a little bit. Port Vale was a snooze fest, but we also got battered by them in November. So I was all right with that, just to not let them do it again. The Charlton one, now Charlie Hughes' own goal, 100% was a foul. Like, how the referee's not called that, I do not know, because Alfie May has pulled on Charlie Hughes' arm when he's trying to clear it. It's sent him back, and when he's hit the ball, it's looked over Sam Tickle. Very, very unlucky. But like, how is that not a foul? And I've been saying it a lot this year about refs. It's like, what is a foul? What's not? I don't understand. But that one confused me. But equally, I was happy with the 2-2 draw, because I think Charlton they're going to be a top side next season. Very happy with what Nathan Jones has done with him. Why they stuck with Michael Appleton for so long, no idea. But I think Charlton are definitely on the resurgence. So a draw against them was good. And then Lincoln and Portsmouth, we've played some of our best football of the season, especially against Lincoln, who arguably had a lot more to play for than Portsmouth. So that result was brilliant. Charlie Hughes to do it in the final minute as well. Yeah, he's done that against Wickham when we got the 120th minute goal or whatever it was. So Hughes has had a great season as well. He deserved that. Yeah, he's one, like you said, the in your young team, the 2 players that are probably the best are your 2 of your own as well, in Tickle and Charlie Hughes. So yeah, that's also another thing I think Rovers fans want to see. And obviously with you, it's sort of, they almost got put into that position. I know Tickle and Hughes sort of got brought in at the back end of the Championship season to play a few games, but obviously this season a lot of your academy players have literally had to sort of show up and get used to League One really quickly. Otherwise, obviously, it would have been a struggle. But Neil, what's your thoughts on Wigan? And have you got any questions for Charlie? And like I said in the comments, if any of you got any questions for Charlie about Wigan, then do let us know. But yeah, Neil, what do you make of Wigan?
No, I think it's summed up pretty well there. If I'm a Wigan fan, the brief at the start of the season is League One football, isn't it? And that's what they've got. I mean, and Maloney's he's no experienced man at the helm. He's a novice himself. They had to feel their way and deal with academy graduates, lads on small money, no real experience. And then you've got to navigate those players through a 40+ game season, which is difficult in itself, because what tends to happen with young players is they come out the traps like a bullet out of a gun, and then 12, 15 games in, they're starting to get leggy. You're getting towards Christmas, New Year, and you've got nothing left in the tank, and then it still starts to, you've seen what Cambridge did. They picked up their points early, but knew full well they were never going to stick around them top 6 places. for sort of 10, 12 games. And it's just banking them points early and making sure that when it does start to tail off, because you haven't got the squad, the facilities, and etc. to maintain that you've got enough in the bank early doors to see you into staying into League One. And I think, like I said, Maloney's met the brief. I don't think his owners or the board or any fans can be disappointed with what Wigan have delivered this season as a football club, considering everything. They had their backs against the wall from day one. If I was in, if that was Bristol Rovers in the same, should be more than happy with what's come about. It's just about what does next season look like for Wigan as far as a far competitive League One, and what is the structure of that football club? Is it any better than it was in the summer? Is it what are the hurdles going into the following campaign as far as a squad turnover, budget, and everything that goes with it? We'll have the same conversations, but it might be on a different level. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think we're still bare bones in terms of a board. We don't have a CEO. I don't think we've had one for quite some time, if I'm honest. Even under the previous ownership, we might have had somebody in the title, but I don't think they were doing the job. Mm-hmm. So we've got to get that in first off. And then outside of just the CEO, Sean Maloney has been doing pretty much like 80% of the work is what it seems like. And he's been doing a lot of our squad that was assembled. Maloney was driving up and down the M6, going to London, going here, there, and everywhere, just trying to sign players. With Gregor Rioch was doing it because we had nobody to do it. And then you can see now we've just got a guy from Morecambe called Charlie, funnily enough. He's come Charlie. Over and he's another Charlie. We got tons of him in our side as well. But he's come in, so he's going to be doing a lot of coaching there. So we're still trying to build the coaching out, still trying to get a CEO. The board is still trying to come together. Like, our director is 21 years old, and I met him recently, and like, very smart guy. He's graduated university and everything, but this is a big challenge. So it's
mad, isn't it? Like 21.
Yeah, he's our owner's son. So there's something kind of good in that, because obviously they got the close, so it's going to be really well run. But he's also 21. He's a director, so I'm really hoping he. I think he's got his head screwed on though. I had a meeting with him, or a lot of the fans had a meeting with him recently about season tickets. Very knowledgeable guy, understands the vision, already started implementing a lot of his ideas, so that is quite good. But then we have a lot of players out of contract, like Josh McGuinness, Charlie Wyke, they're out of contract, Ben Amos, Tom Pierce. We've got a few like that where they're starting to come to an end. It's, do we sign them? Do we not? A lot of the youth as well that are coming up, like Joe Adams, who's been in League Two. I think he's out of contract, so he's going to have to get sorted, but we haven't really seen any contract movement. So we've got to do all that as well. Then try and sign a few new players into positions that we really need. We've got 7 or 8 loans are going back, and they make up a lot of our squad. Like Liam Morrison at the back, he's going back to Bayern Munich. Marshall Goda's going back to Fulham. Luke Chambers going back to Liverpool. So we've got to figure that out. Then you've got, if Charlie Hughes and Sam Tickle do leave, then you've got to fill those voids. So it's going to be a very, very long summer. But I know there's talks about Wigan need to try and get in the playoffs next season. Would be great. I'd be happy with 10th or above again, because I just think that upper mid-table, that's where we kind of need to aim for again. But we just need to get rid of these lulls. And you can see that even though without the minus, if we win against Bristol Rovers, without the -8, that would be 70 points, which I far exceeded what I thought we were going to hit. I thought we were going to scrape around 50, 55 points, and I'd have been happy with that. But when you look at the amount of shots we're allowing to be taken on us, only Fleetwood Town have had more. And that's a big problem. And that's not just on the back four defensively and the goalkeeper. That is across the team. You're just letting the ball go too many times. And obviously the Bristol Rovers game last time was a great example of that. So there's a lot Maloney also needs to do on the training ground next season, just to make sure that on the field we're a lot better. But hopefully a lot of the off-field stuff will get sorted.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot. I can't remember now. I'll be doing a video in the next sort of couple of weeks of where I predict. I can't even remember. Obviously, I know Rovers and Carlisle. I think I've got. Rovers I got horribly wrong because I said we'd finish 6th. So I always go into the season too optimistic. Like, no matter what season it is, I always just go mad. But I like. It'd be interesting to see where I put Wigan. I'm pretty sure I put them mid-table, but I'm not sure that'll be out there in the next few weeks. But yeah, that's the thing. Because you mentioned there loads of changes, obviously, but you mentioned pretty much all your players that bring up your average age are leaving as well or out of contract. Like you mentioned, Pierce, McGuinness, who's been there and done it, Amos, and it's pretty big, really. But for us as well, I think it's interesting times for both, obviously, because in different ways as well, but because this is the first summer that our new owners are going to be involved, and there's a lot of talk. You mentioned season tickets. Just a quick question: what are your ticket prices like? And the reason I asked that, because I've seen a lot of interesting ones. Bolton come out really, really cheap, and I've seen, that for the game against us, there's you're doing a deal, like you can bring 2 friends or for free and stuff like that. What's your adult season ticket prices, or under 23 for next season?
Yeah, they've done something. So this year, the early bird that we had, I think I can't remember what it was, maybe around like 360-ish, let's say. It was around the mid 300s. So the early bird that we had for this season, the owners, and it was actually the 21-year-old Lucas Danson, he pitched this apparently. Any renewals on that are frozen at the early bird price, so they won't get raised, which is obviously very good, trying to get people in. If you don't do that, I think the price has gone up to 410, I think, for an adult in the side stand. So obviously,
what's that? The one on the left to the away end? Yeah.
Well, if you go north or south, the home or away end, it's going to be a little bit cheaper. Obviously, you can't go in the north because that's where the away fans are. But if you're in the south, it's a little bit cheaper anyway. But I think it's 410 is the adult price, and then I think it's 380 if you're in the south. But so it's not bad. But the directors and the owners, they want to make sure that we're competitive with the pricing, but we want to be on the lower side of like the top 8. And he was talking about Barnsley. He said Barnsley are the only current top 8 side who didn't have a renewal on an early bird price, and they've just started to do it. So we're trying to catch back up with that. But they also said that we have absolutely no information on who's bought season tickets in the past, who turns up to games, what the demographic is, because the previous 2 admin seasons, we've lost all that information. So they're literally starting a new Excel spreadsheet and they're starting it all over again. So next season is when we're really going to start building, because this year we've moved over to Ticketmaster from our old ticketing system, which our old season ticket system and match day ticket system was a complete mess. And I know there's some hands in that shouldn't have been in there, and it's not been run very, very well. So Ticketmaster hopefully will be a lot better. But one big thing that they said is we're not doing reciprocal pricing. So there was something like that this year where Derby County charged us, I think it was £22 to go there, but then we charged them 28, and then we were both getting a little bit annoyed. Why is it not reciprocal? But the owners have also said that we will not hit £30 tickets again. Obviously, I don't know how many years that's going to go in for, but he said in the next couple of seasons we won't hit £30. So the most expensive you'll see is £28, which isn't bad really. And I think we've also increased or decreased the price in young people season tickets. So if you're not 0 to 4, I think your season ticket's a £5. If you're 4 or 5 to 11, I think it's like 15 quid or something. So they're really trying a big push now to get young people in, and they're trying to build the atmosphere and the engagement with it. So I think that's the very clear plan, is just trying to get people in, because a lot of people haven't really been turning up as much this season.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing with Rovers as well. It's not just off the pitch and recruitment fans want to see. It's also like within your own fans. Like, whereas, I think we've took away sort of you could pay like a month, like do it monthly, sort of a season ticket. Because now at Rovers, I still haven't got mine yet. And even with stuff like that, you can't even do it as in like a monthly thing. You have to pay it all up front, and they've obviously put the prices up, even though it's been a shambles of a season again. And then also they've took away like a family season ticket. So again, if you're instead of saying like £400 for like an adult and a kid, or like it might have even been less, but now it's like literally £900 a grand for like an adult and 2 kids and stuff like that. So it's
for the £900 a season.
Yeah, for like 3 people.
Oh, for 3? I thought you meant for 1. Wow,
no, not for 1.
I was going to be Tottenham Hotspur or something.
yeah, not that. But yeah, even if stuff like that, I think I've seen a lot of people. I know a lot of Rovers fans that aren't bothering with season tickets and stuff like that, just because it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
On the pitch and sort of off it as well. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, we'll get into starting lineups. And this is obviously last year of the season. I think there's maybe obviously quite a few changes. We know Jack Hunt got injured again. Connor Taylor is out again with another injury. Martin Band, as we know. Finley, we actually didn't get into Finley earlier. But obviously, he's announced the other day that after 3 seasons and 121 appearances, he'll be leaving. I think most of us already knew. Me and Neil talked about it for weeks. I think we sort of knew that he was going. I mean, just getting into that, obviously, it is going to be a miss because he was a leader. He did give everything. Even if he was playing poor and he wouldn't sort of just shy away, it'd be like at the front line of it. And I think like I said, I think we all knew that he was going to leave, but he's injured anyway. To be fair, I don't even think he's injured. I think he's already I haven't talked to him or anyone, but I just think anyway, him and a few other players are sort of just are done anyway and are out of contract, and they probably don't even want to play. I've heard a few other different things like with certain players, but I won't say it here. But yeah, I just it's a shame really, because he was such a big part of the League Two promotion. He was, I think, Barton's second player, and he has been a good player. I mean, Neil, quickly before we get into lineups, what have you made of Finley as a Rovers player after his 3 years at the club?
No, he's been top. He's been top for us. He's been excellent for us. I don't think he's been the same sort of in himself on the pitch since Coops has gone, but I just think culturally as a club we've been different since Coops has gone. He did so much for us, is setting a standard and driving standards, and he took a lot of weight off Joey Soldiers. He pretty much run that dressing room himself, and when he left, we lost a little bit of steel in and around our day-to-day work. But Finley on a whole he's been excellent for us, to be honest. Yeah, he's had off days, he's not had great weeks, etc. But you can say that about any player. And for a bloke who's given his all pretty much for the best part of 3 years, and I think he's more than entitled to in his 30s now go back up north and find somewhere a bit more settled with his family.
Yeah. I think to be fair, even though I thought he'd done well for us, and I just think, anyways, to be fair, even me, I probably would have offered him a contract, but then at the same time, he's closing in on, will be 32 in August. I know it's not old as a footballer, but I think him anyway. I think he was never, when Barton, maybe if Barton was still here, he might have signed another contract, but definitely with Taylor, he's definitely going to be going. And I think family as well. Like, I don't think any of his family live down here. I think he still goes up, once or twice a week to see him in like Liverpool or wherever he lives. So, but it'll be it's annoying that we won't see him obviously again in a Rovers shirt, but he's been class. I think everyone recognises that. But yeah, getting into lineups, like I said, it's going to be a bit of a dodgy one. So let us know in the comments what you think your lineup is going to be for Rovers. But yeah, Neil, we'll go with you first, and then we'll get Charlie's Wigan lineup. So yeah, what do you think?
Like I said, it's a dead rubber. A lot of these lads, to be honest, it's a matter of go out and enjoy yourself for the last time altogether, because after today, you ain't probably going to see each other all again as a group in the same room. So it's just one last roll of the dice for a lot. I expect Wigan lads to be the same, to be honest. Nothing on it. Go out there, enjoy yourself, and just see how you get on, really. But I think there's an element where if you can put kids on the bench to give them a match day experience in the first team, I think there's opportunity there to do so. If we have kids of ability to do that, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know what we're looking at as far as behind the first team. But if there's an opportunity for one or two to go and be part of that match day experience, it won't do them any harm at all. As far as a starting lineup, I go Ward in goal. I think Harvey Bale deserves one last crack at. He's been excellent all season for us, and I know he's a lone player, and you could easily just say don't bother, but I just think he deserves it, to be honest. Just go and have one last run out for us. I played Josh Grant at right back because he's in contract next season. He's coming back. You're going to have to deal with him as part of your squad because he's going to exercise his final year.
Who's that right back? Sorry, it broke up a little bit.
Josh Grant.
Oh, Josh Grant. Now he's injured.
Oh, is he? Oh, we'll have to play Luca.
Yeah, play Luca. Yeah.
And then
Josh Grant is injured. Yeah.
Beefy and Baggett at centre half again. I have my doubts over what I saw of Baggett to start first 2-3 games, but I think he's grown and he's got a lot better for us. Whether Taylor's got designs on having him back next season, I'm not too sure, but I expect, he can play alongside Beefy for me. Middle three of Conter, Rossiter for an hour, if you can get another hour out of him. Evans in there with him, with Thomas one side, probably Macca the other. I'd give Macca minutes again in contract, going to be back again next season. He's going to have to work damn hard pre-season to get himself built up again. And Scott Sinclair through the middle.
Yeah, a bit more pace and a bit more nous, because Giovanni Brown, he's not a striker, and obviously he hasn't had the best. He's had a very, very poor season, even probably from his own standards. One goal this season in all competitions. I think we were expecting a lot better. I know there was stuff on behind the scenes, but yeah, even for his sake, he'll be, wanting to be better. He's got a year left on his contract, but I wouldn't be immune to that. Seeing that Scott's, at least there's a bit more pace and someone who can probably run and dribble, and he's been on good form, Scott Sinclair. So Charlie, what would be your Wigan starting 11? And let us know in the comments. Like I said, we'll get into score predictions in a sec, but starting 11 for the Lactics.
Yeah, I mean, we've faffed about for a bit playing 3 centre-backs, and we're all saying it doesn't really work. So I think, thankfully, he's not doing that anymore. But it's going to be Sam Tickle in goal for sure. Left back will be Luke Chambers, the boy on loan from Liverpool. He's been brilliant. I don't think he's quite ready to step up and be a Liverpool player. And also the competition for places is so high there anyway. So whether he comes back to us on loan or whether he goes to a championship side, Maloney said he wants to try and keep him, but he's a good player to watch. And then centre-backs, it's going to be either Liam Morrison and Charlie Hughes or Charlie Hughes and Jason Kerr. But I imagine we'll see all three at some point in the game. Right back, it will either be Sean Clare or Steven Sessegnon. Clare has been fit for a while, but he even said in his pre-match interview, he's been saying that I've been left out of the squad just for bits here and there. So I don't know if it's personal reasons or if Maloney's just not really relied on him. I think he's a great player, so hopefully we see Sean Clare, but Steven Sessegnon as well. He's really good. They both move into the midfield to bulk that out. Midfield will be Matt Smith and Babaradiko again, but obviously Matt Smith's not got his double hernia, thankfully, so he's a lot more improved than he was. And then I'm just looking at the starting lineup from when we played you last time, and Charlie White and Callum Lang are both in there. Neither are with us now. It'll be Marshall Godo on the left, I imagine. Johnny Smith on the right, who's come into his best self. He's been great. And Talo Asgard are probably playing the 10 role, but he can also sit back into try and form a 3 in the midfield when he needs to. And then striker, I think we'll go with Charlie Kelman. I'm not overly impressed with him, but I think he does a good job. He got 2 goals against Charlton. It's just, I don't know how tall your centre-backs are or how physically dominant they are, but if they are tall and they are physically dominant, it'll be easy to mark him out of the game. To be honest, he's only a small guy, but he has his eyes set on
he's small. He's small and
yeah, he's like 5'7"-ish. But he's got his eyes set on the Olympics. He wants to go there with, he's American, so even though he doesn't sound American, he's English, but I think his dad was American or something. But he wants to go and play for America in the Olympics. So his eyes are set on that. Whether he gets it, I don't know, but I imagine he will try and start. Yeah,
it's good. Well, it's going to be interesting because, Baggett is very tall and physical. He's 6'5", 6'6", and then Conley's probably he's one of those centre backs that don't look very tall, but he probably is like I think he's around 6 foot, maybe 6'1". But if it would have been Taylor, if it had been Taylor, Connor Taylor and Baggett, it'd have been 6'7" and 6'5" or 6'6", and it would have been tall. But Taylor's unfortunately out, so Yeah, interesting team. Like you said, you mentioned Callum Lang has left to go and get a promotion to the Championship with Portsmouth. Wyke has got a relegation. Of course, got relegated with Rotherham. They're going to be interesting, aren't they? Mind that Steve Evans. Steve Evans goes back to Rotherham is mental.
I don't understand it at all. You had a good project going with Stevenage, and I think all the fans were behind him. So why he's jumped to go to Rotherham, and that is a massive rebuild. I don't fully know. But speaking on Callum Lang, I think it's a bit like when you talk about Finlay, sort of mentally checked out maybe at that point.
Yeah.
I think Lang had just completely mentally checked out, and that's no real fault of his own, but he's been with us through the academy. Took him a long time to break into the side, got the promotion, was playing well, struggled in the Championship, really tried to give it another good go, but after everything that's been going on, you could see he just wasn't the same player. And it was like, we all kind of wanted him to leave for the betterment of himself. And we're all still Callum Lang fans. Like when we went to Fratton Park and he played, like you could just see the reception was so good from the Wigan fans. So I'm excited to see Lang again in the Championship. And I think he will actually have a lot of a better season than we had, because it wasn't very good when we were in there. And I think this Portsmouth side under Messinio is I think they're going to shock a few people, maybe a mid-table, but I think that's very good in the Championship on your first go, to be honest. After 12 years of them being out of it, if they can get mid-table, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is pretty mad, isn't it? Because it's pretty mad when I think about it. When I was 15 the last time they were in the Championship. That's mad. But yeah,
in the Prem. With Crouch and Defoe and like Cranchar and stuff. Harry Redknapp. I remember that, and I kind of identify Portsmouth with a sleeping giant ready to go back in the Premier League. And then when you think they've more recently been in League Two than in Premier League, you think, oh my God, the journey that they've been on is crazy. Yeah, it is mad.
But for me, my Rovers lineup again, it's like I said, a bit of a mad one. Well, do you know what though? I would play the only player that has been, I know Kofi Shaw's been on the bench a few times, but he's, an under 18 player, but the only first team player, although he's young and we signed him as a third choice, not even in any competitions he's played. He's the only player not to play any minutes at all. I would give him a go. I would chuck him in, and that's the keeper we signed on a free in the summer from Southampton. He got released from Southampton. I think he's 20, Matt Hall. And some Rovers fans are thinking, who is he? Because literally, he's been in match day squads and on the bench a few times, but he's not played a single minute. So for me, I would chuck him in. I would put Luca Hall was going to be right back because Hunt again injured quality, but misses half a season. Unfortunately, because he was amazing in the game we had against you at home. Jack Hunt was unbelievable. Him and Thomas on the right hand side were ridiculous. So
I think if I was going to go through all the teams we've played and try and put in an 11 of the best players we've been up against, I always put Jack Hunt in that. I thought he was sensational.
He was unreal. I think he got a
goal
in
his 30s, isn't he?
Yeah, 33. Yeah,
which is mind blowing. Like I think he doesn't look it. He just keeps going and keeps going. But he ran that right wing no problem.
Yeah, he was. I think that was when he first come in because we signed him pretty late as well. I believe. Did he? I think we did. Or he might have come in already injured as well. I think he actually did come in injured. But so Luca Hall right back, centre backs probably agree with Neil. I'd go Connolly and Baggett. Left back again, Vel. He's done very very good considering he come in as a 10 / winger, and we've played him left back or wing back all season, and he has done really well. On loan from Chelsea, and then the midfield. Sort of free, I'd probably agree again. I'd go Conte, Rossiter. That's going to be obviously an interesting one in the summer. We'll talk more on that when we do our sort of season review in the next week or 2 weeks or so. And then, number 10, Anthony Evans. It'd be nice for... Hopefully we can see him back next season, but I just think he'll leave just for the, better of himself, and he is a quality player. We've talked about that for a few weeks. I've done it. There's a post on Twitter from Tom Williams, that analyst from Notts County. He does it, and I said one player who you're afraid or you think will leave, and Evans. But then front three is interesting. I reckon Taylor will probably play Giovanni. But if I'm going to do something, I'd probably play him. I'd probably play him on the wing. I'd probably go. Oh, it's so tough. I'm trying to think what other. We literally have no other wingers, do we? I'm trying to think what to do, but literally no striker's going to be available, and there's no other wingers apart from Thomas and Sinclair. I'm really not sure. I'd probably play Maka as a false 9 because at least then he actually runs and presses. So I'd go Maka as a false 9, even though he's a centre mid cam, and then I'll go Thomas on the right and Sinclair on the left. So that'd be my team. But yeah, we're going to get into predictions. Keep hitting the like button if you haven't already. Do subscribe. We're coming to the end, but we will finish on our score predictions. I'll go with you first, Neil. What is your score prediction for the game? Do you think we're going to end the season with another loss and a game without scoring a goal, or do you think we can get something from the game?
No, I think all roads lead to sort of 1-0 Wigan, to be honest. Probably like Asgard or someone, but I don't think it'd be much to watch. I don't think it'll be much of a spectacle, and I think season will probably end with a bit of a whimper. Yeah, I'd say 1-0 Wigan.
Yeah, 1-0 Wigan. Yeah, let us know in the comments. We've already got one. Tom Butler saying 2-2. So yeah, everyone else that's watching, leave your score prediction. Charlie, what are you gonna say? Do you think you can get revenge on the 4-1 defeat?
I would hope so. I think there's a few points that I really want us to just. I think the win's going to be huge if we can get it, not just because it's another 3 points, but it would essentially take us to 70 points, which is a really nice number for the younger ones to hit. Obviously, we had the -8, so it skews it a little bit. But then it would also be our 20th win of the season. And I'm pretty sure if we win, we go up to having the 6th best home form in the league. I think as a confidence booster for our younger ones going into the summer, if you could end the season with a 2-2 against Charlton, a 2-1, a 2-1 against Lincoln and Portsmouth, and then another win against Bristol Rovers, who battered us last time we played them, I think that's going to be a really nice segue into the summer for them. And then hopefully it'll make them go into next season with a better mentality and just think, we can do this. We can go up against the best sides and get results and try and climb up the table. So Asgard's not been in the best of form recently. He's not been bad, but he's just not been at the form.
He's going to score then, basically.
Yeah,
literally. When someone's off form or needs a lift, then just play Rovers is fine.
You said about Charlie White last time we were on. You said he always scores against you, and he wasn't in the best of form. And then he goes, that goal should not have stood. I think that was a foul on the keeper, if I'm honest. I don't think it should have stood, but.
Charlie White. Yeah, that was the one where, we had Matt Cox in goal. He went up to jump. To be fair, I can't remember what I said at the time, but now, I don't think it was a foul. I just think that we've been disallowed goals for softer than that. Like Sean Clare against Barnsley, he scored, but I think his arm had brushed the keeper as the ball got taken from the corner, but the ball wasn't even in the box when he did it. And the ref blew up. He went, "No, you fouled the keeper." And then I go, "Well, Charlie White was underneath the keeper and let the ball go loose and then scored." But for me, I don't think it should have stood, but I was happy that it did. Asgard's not been in the best form, so I think hopefully he can finish the season well. I really want him to be in the running for captaincy next season. Maybe not the captain, but like a vice captain. He's 21, 22 now, played over 100 games for us. He really needs to start being a bit more of a leader on the field, especially taking over from Will Keane. So if he can finish well, I'd be glad. But I think it's going to be, I don't know. I think both sides just want to finish strong and get over that 60-point mark. So I'm going to go 2-1 Wigan. 2-1 Wigan. Goal scorers?
I really want Babaradiko to get on the score sheet. He hasn't scored since he was 14, and he's had a brilliant season for us. And I think he nearly scored actually against Portsmouth. The ball came to him in the box and you could see he went to go and head it, but a boot was coming in and he backed out. And I thought, just stick your head on that, get it in. So if he can score, it'll be great. But now you've said Asgard, I think Asgard and Adiko I'm going to go with.
Asgard and Adiko. Yeah, for me, it's, to be fair, I think if you look at it our top goal scorer is out, and our top goal scorer by a long way. If you look at the league, I think Martin's got 16 goals, and the second after that, I think, is Evans and Thomas, I think, are both on 6, or maybe Evans is on 6 and Thomas is on 5. So I think, and with no Martin, like Marquis has been poor for a while, and again is another one that's probably annoyed with Taylor just because of the sort of type of person he is, or whatever, or what manager. So it's hard. I don't think we're going to score. I'm going. Well, I should be going. So I would love to see a goal, of course, and I'd love to see a win, but I just can't see it. I think with a few certain players out, it would be nice for us to score and for win to last game of the season, but I just can't see it really. I think with your form, and I just think you'll win. I just think it'll be, fairly comfortable. So I'm going to say another 2-0 loss, unfortunately. I think it'll be 2-0 Wigan. I'm going to say Asgard, and I'm going to say I'm going to say just before he goes back to Bayern Munich, the Scotsman, I'm going to go Morrison is going to get.
He's got a goal in him. He has got a goal in him. He's good on the back post when the ball comes in. Johnny Smith will be our corner taker, and he's really good at putting corner balls in. So Liam Morrison's pretty good at getting on him. But if you win, that'll be 30 points for home and 30 points for away. So it'll be a nice little balance, I think, for Bristol Rovers if you can get the win. Yeah,
I mean, saying that though, but I think, we'll get more into it. But I think with like eight home wins out of 23. And for how poor my form's gone, and I think we've off the top of my head, I'm going to say 12 or 13 games we haven't scored in, and stuff like that. I just think it is so poor. I think you look at it, you think, I think if we win, I think we could finish 13th, and people might look at that and say, oh yeah, mid-table finish. I think maybe I'm not sure how many Rovers fans, but probably a good few people would have said, oh, mid-table. But when you look at it and how it's gone and the runs we've been on, and to not win 3 games in a row all season and stuff like that, I just think it looks so poor. But yeah, you could balance it out maybe and say it like that. But yeah, 8 home wins and stuff like that, it's just been so frustrating. Some of the batterings we've had as well, etc. But yeah, Neil's gone for a 1-0 Wigan. Charlie's gone for a 2-1, you said, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1 Wigan, and then I've gone 2-0 Wigan. Hopefully me and Neil are wrong, but we'll have to see. But yeah, even if I don't, I'm not 100% I'm going yet, but even if I don't go, I will do a reaction after the game. But if I do go, then yeah, hopefully it can be a bit of carnage in the away end for the last game of the season. But yeah, we'll have to see. Thanks to obviously Charlie coming on again. I'm sure we'll have you on again next season. But yeah, all the best after Saturday, and obviously going into next season. And then as always, thanks to Neil for coming on. We're going to be obviously, like I said at the start of the episode, we're going to be doing a lot of content over the season. There'll be a few changes. Might get some more Rovers fans involved as well on screen with me and Neil, just to sort of get a bit more of a different opinions, I guess. But yeah, obviously, thanks for the support in the last episode before the season ends. If you enjoyed it and haven't already done so, please do hit the like button. It always helps out. Do subscribe. We're on the road to 7K. And see you in the Max Reaction on Saturday. Up the gas.